Today I'm talking to Viviene Pearson, CEO of SAIA, and we'll be talking about the AI conference celebrating 50 years and a little bit about SAIA and what is going on at SAIA. So Viviene, thank you for your time today. The purpose of today's conversation is to talk about the upcoming AIE conference and the fact that it's been 50 years. But maybe we can first get a quick catch up and an update on how things are going at SAIA.
Thank you very much for this opportunity, Rianet. Yes, SAIA is great. We are, we have a lot of our plate, as per usual, but we are making progress on many fronts. As you know, the kind of work that we do is related to the sustainability of the insurance industry. And so there are many things that's going on there.
What is the biggest issue, if you just think off the cuff, what's the biggest issue the industry is dealing with at the moment in your space specifically?
Are you talking about one issue?
I know there's like a million. If there's one or two standouts, yes.
No, okay, let me answer it, the question in this way. The biggest issue that SAIA is basically our reason for existence is the sustainability of the insurance industry. Now, the sustainability of the insurance industry, obviously that includes a lot of things. We are talking about, increasing weather-related events. We are talking about still high crime figures, high road accident figures in South Africa. We're talking about failing infrastructure, and I always want to make the point that the interaction between weather-related events, that's obviously linked to climate change, and infrastructure is just something that is so important, because if the infrastructure is not maintained, or people are, for example, allowed to build in floodplains or on the coastline, or whatever, then the climate-related events will impact that infrastructure very badly, and it will have much larger impacts on on individuals, etc. And if so it is very important, and a lot of the activities that we have around mitigating risks are related to infrastructure and service delivery, which impact the losses very badly if it is not, properly done. So I think I would like to stop there, because I think you can only look at the results of the insurers that are being published in terms of the losses related to fire and related to weather-related events, and this obviously has a huge impact on the insurance industry and the insurers themselves, and also on the broader environment. Yeah. If insurance, if there are more and more potential uninsurable events, then we're talking about the growing protection gap. We're also talking about the affordability of insurance. So that is what is really keeping us awake here at SAIA, and we have multiple projects in which to help, address by mitigating the risks in a way. But obviously those all come with partnerships, because it's not the role of the insurance industry to try and fix the infrastructure. But we have a definite role to play in trying to make it happen through collaborations.
You read my mind. I just wanted to touch quickly on the public-private partnership story, but you've answered that basically. Maybe a quick answer on this one. Is there light at the end of the tunnel when you talk about all these issues? I mean, all these conversations happen, but does it feel that there's a little bit of light coming through?
Yeah, I really feel positive about that. Look, these are big topics. And so we have a very positive conversations with the regulators, for example, around the grid failure, exclusions. I was going to say exceptions. And how to deal with the contract certainty that there should be. We don't want another CBI incident, or impact hitting the industry. But also policyholder protection on the other hand. And so we are in very positive engagements with the regulators, and we have a way forward in terms of how to deal with not only the grid failure exclusions, but potentially going forward more systemic risks related, kind of exclusions or whatever, so that we can deal with that in a responsible way and not in an anti-competitive way. So that's one of the that's one of the things. But the engagements with government, we have so many MOUs in place with, for example, the Road Traffic Management Corporation, in terms of dealing with all sorts of issues related to motor and the sustainability of motor insurance, but particularly with the local government authorities and so on, in terms of fire. The fire services performance and infrastructure, and that relates also to water. So I see a lot of goodwill and a lot of good intentions, and the implementation part is where we need to move towards. Just as an aside as well, as a member of BUSA, we are also involved in and very happy with the progress made by the B4SA partnership with the presidency and government on the 3 critical issues that impact the insurers and everybody else in the country as well, namely the energy crisis. And we see a lot of improvement there already. And then it's transport and logistics, where a lot is happening to improve the situation on the ground. And then crime and corruption is now is one of the 3 main focus areas for the next 18 months to 2 years. Well, we're already into the 18 months. The crime and corruption is a little bit more difficult to put together and start implementing, but it is moving fast now under the auspices of B4SA, and together with government. So yeah, I am very hopeful, but we all know that we are in an election year, and we'll just hope for the best results so that we can continue with our work.
I like that positive news. We started off with all the challenges, so that's good news. As long as there's hope, we can move forward.
Yeah.
Talk to me about the upcoming AIE conference number 50, and what SAIA's role is when talking conference. How involved are you? How are you part of this? Yeah.
Okay, look, I think I would like to just say that at the 50th AIE, it wasn't called AIE always, but,
yes, right.
But the 50th AIE conference is a big milestone. And I do want to congratulate the IASA who have continuously, arranged these conferences quite successfully. SAIA is involved. We used to be very much more involved, but our agenda is so huge, and we're only 22 people at SAIA. So we had a discussion quite a few years ago at board level, where we were questioning the original very involvedness of SAIA. Versus the agenda that we have, and also the fact that we are not really in the business of conference organizing. It's not really our mandate. And since the IASA have been really successful in arranging these conferences, we have sort of curtailed a little bit our energy, but we are very involved in terms of giving input on the content, on the program, who the potential speakers could be, where there are different angles that are very relevant for the industry now, because we are close to the industry.
Yes.
And we can, in that way, I think we do add value to this conference, and clearly we support it fully.
Yeah. How important is this conference for the industry?
I think it is very important. In the past, SAIA sort of, and that was even before I got to the position after being the CEO. We considered whether SAIA shouldn't have an annual conference. But we decided against it because we believe that the ISA conference or the AIE conference is really delivering on the most prominent, most important conference for the industry very well. And so, yeah, so I think it is extremely important. And the fact that it's being done well means that SAIA and other bodies don't really have to mess with what's working.
I think another element to that is the fact that since COVID, there has been most certainly less networking sessions and get-togethers for us as an industry who were used to like really a lot of events.
Yeah.
And I think people miss networking and miss to sit with people and just have chats and catch up. That is most certainly one of the big aims of this conference is the networking. So I think in that way, it's also, I think, really critical for people.
Yeah, I agree with you there. The value of in-person conversations, person to person, in real life, not on the camera,
100%.
like we are doing now. I think we sort of underestimated the importance of that because it was just what we were used to. And it was all of a sudden it was actually doable, virtually. And that obviously brings a lot of advantages. But the importance of networking person to person, I think, cannot be overemphasized. There's a lot of things and nuances and, just a personal connection that we missed. And yeah, I think this is one of the biggest advantages of the conference, the AIE conference, and also the relationship building. And
Yes.
there may be existing relationships that's been there for a long, long time, but that reconnection is important. A trust element is important, and it's good to do. It's a very, very good opportunity for relationship building and strengthening of relationships at the conference.
Vivienne, you've been in the industry for, I'm going to guess, about 27 years. Am I right?
If you say in the industry,
And it started with FAnews. That's what I mean.
FAnews, yes. So yes, and it was actually my being part of the FAnews in those days that gave me exposure to SAIA, and that's how I actually was encouraged to join SAIA. So yes.
I shared the story with someone very recently, and I don't think people realize the connection that you actually have with FAnews. So yeah, quite a cool story.
Yeah, it's a cool story. So yes, I try to remember back when I saw your question. I don't know how many years it is. It is at least 25.
Yeah.
Or thereabouts. But I've been at SAIA for 20 years.
Yeah.
So yeah.
And how many conferences have you been going to of the 50? How many did you attend?
Okay.
Can you remember?
I had to. I am making an educated guess here. Maybe I should say too many to remember, but I remember many of those. So yes, I think it probably is around about 22 from SAIA's. From being at SAIA, I don't know that I missed any one of them. Having started as the corporate affairs manager at SAIA all those years ago, that was part of my job. So since then, I didn't miss any, except those that we obviously didn't have during COVID time.
Sure. Okay. You obviously know what the topics are. You have a broad overview. Which of the topics are you looking forward to the most?
Yeah, look, I mean, I haven't had sight of the actual detailed final program, but as I said, we have given input on the content. So I'm looking forward to these. There was a broad topic, future of insurance. Obviously, I think it is important to look at the future of insurance because things are changing quite rapidly. And it's going to be very interesting how the industry and the insurers actually innovate to address these, increasing risks in different ways. And for that, I'm very happy. And I hope some of the latest developments on that front will potentially feature on the program. The other, I would say, topics, relevant topics of the day in terms of ESG, and the growing interest of how to include ESG in daily business practices, etc. Every aspect that insurers do. From a non-life insurance point of view, we're also engaging the regulators continuously on the uniqueness of our industry. It's not, we are different than the banks or the life insurers in lots of ways, as environmental, social, and not so much the governance part, but really do impact practically insurers very directly. And we also need to look at the growing protection gap in terms of those requirements. So that should be a very interesting story, as well as the rolling out of, or the run up to the implementation of the COFI bill. And so there's lots and lots of pieces happening, reliant on getting through Parliament, etc., etc. So there's still a little bit of uncertainty around when exactly the COFI bill will be properly implemented. But I know, as we all know, the regulators are busy with putting all the pieces in place. So I think that should be an interesting topic, and I think many people would look forward to having a little bit more information around the rollout of the implementation. Yeah, and then content around the growing protection gap, because I do think that's the real topic that speaks to the sustainability of insurance, but also the sustainability of individuals, businesses, and so on, and the economy at large as well. If there's no protection, it's going to be very bad for everybody all around, including the industry.
100%. Vivienne, from someone who's been at more or less 22 conferences, any comment or word for those who are still sitting on the fence, considering it's a lot of money? What would you say?
Yeah, I think the problem or the challenge of the affordability of the conference, we've had many conversations over the years, also with the IISA, and how one can address it. And I think that it is already a shorter format, within reason, to still allow for enough time to properly engage. So I do think that it is really important for relationship building, and that trust relationship that I've been talking about. It is very important for SAIA to be there, because the relationships and trust really forms the key of how we can implement our agenda and be successful at it. because it is about collaboration. Nobody can do anything on it. Nobody can deal with these very large issues on their own. And I think that is key. And I think this is a real opportunity for people. And obviously, you know, insurers are competitors, but there also needs to be relationships and conversations and so on and so on. You know, in order for the industry as a whole to really deliver on their mandate as well.
Thank you. Thank you for your time. Always enjoy having a chat with you about the industry issues, what you guys are busy with, and then, of course, now the upcoming conference. Thank you for your time, Viviene, and see you at conference.
Yes, looking forward to it. Thank you.
This is Rianet Whitehead, FAnews Editor, signing off.